Welcome into Tailgate Thursday for week number 10 of the 2025 football season. My name is David Morrison from the Ball Society, here to preview this weekend's college football games. We begin with our beloved Tennessee Volunteers, ranked number 14 in the AP poll. Welcomes in the Oklahoma Sooners. Vols coming off a two-game road trip, now back home to Neyland Stadium for dark mode as the Vols and the Sooners meet. It's a matchup of basically the irresistible force, meaning the immovable object, as Tennessee with its top offense in the SEC taking on the top defense of the SEC in Oklahoma. You got two talented quarterbacks in John Mateer and Joey Aguilar. What's going to happen in this game? It should be very interesting to see how both teams approach this matchup, especially the two coaches, Josh Heupel and Brent Venables. Good news for Tennessee. Colton Hood looks like he's going to go on Saturday. Left the Kentucky game last week and was not placed on the injured reserve list on Wednesday. Still without Jermon McCoy, although he was back at practice. And Ricky Gibbs is still out, along with freshman Travis Smith. Arian Carter still listed as questionable for the Vols. But we shall see what happens in this one as the Sooners take on the Volunteers. All right, 12 o'clock ABC. Vanderbilt taking on number 20, Texas, for a noon game on ABC. Texas coming off that two-game road trip themselves and escaped with a couple of overtime wins. Probably could have lost both of those games, but now back home to take on the hottest team in the SEC right now with the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia and just, racking up wins. They've been at home the last couple of weeks with wins over LSU and Missouri. Now they got to go on the road, take on Texas. It's been a while since Vandy's been on the road. What's going to happen in this one? Gores and Longhorns meet at noon. All right, 3:30 on ABC from Jacksonville, Florida, for the last time, at least for the next couple of years, as there's renovations going to take place at the Jaguars Stadium. But it is Georgia and Florida in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. First game for the Gators without Billy Napier when he was let go a couple of weeks ago. They had a bye week last week. How's this Florida team going to respond in that matchup? Are they going to play a little bit more inspired, or are they just kind of coast until next year? Meanwhile, for Georgia, still in contention for the college football playoff. Do they overlook this game? How's Georgia going to approach this one, or are they just go in there and take care of business? We'll find out. Dogs and Gators. 4 o'clock on the SEC Network. Two teams desperately need a SEC win. Mississippi State hasn't had one since they hired their head coach, Jeff Lebby, almost a couple of years ago. Still looking to snap that long losing streak. Meanwhile, for Arkansas, looking for their first SEC win. They've already dismissed Sam Pittman, and Bob Petrino's the interim coach. Had a heartbreaking loss to Texas A&M, lost to Auburn, and of course Tennessee. Can they finally get that win over Mississippi State? Like I said, somebody's got to win this one. It's going to be very interesting to see what both fans' mindset is after this one, as the Bulldogs of Mississippi State take on the Razorbacks of Arkansas. 7 o'clock on ESPN. South Carolina taking on the 7th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss, picked up a nice win on the road against Oklahoma. Trinidad Chambliss had a nice day, looking very good so far. Very much another team that's in contention for the college football playoff, although the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes is underway with, the LSU and the Florida job coming open. Does that cause a distraction? Meanwhile, for South Carolina, you're just trying to at least get to a bowl game at this point. It's going to be a tough matchup for South Carolina on the road, but anything can happen in the SEC. We'll find out. Gamecocks and Rebels Saturday night. 7:30 SEC Network. This is pretty much a hot seat game for both of these teams. Kentucky going to the Plains to take on the Auburn Tigers. Both Mark Stoops, Hugh Freeze on the hot seat. Basically, I think whoever loses this game, their coach may be let go the next day. But it's kind of hard to tell with Kentucky half the time. But Kentucky looked a lot better under Carter Bowley last week, putting up those career high numbers against Tennessee's defense. It's just not good. Meanwhile, for Auburn, they did get the win over Arkansas, which probably saved Hugh Freeze's job for another week. But, this is a loser leaves town matchup in this one. Kentucky Wildcats and Auburn Tigers, 7:30 SEC Network. All right, let's go across the nation here. We'll get you out of here. One game we'll focus on, and then we're going to jump and look at the undefeated teams still left in college football, at least playing in Week 10. 10:15 ESPN. College Game Day will be in Salt Lake City for the 17th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats and the 22nd ranked Utah Utes. Both teams in contention for the Big 12 championship. Cincinnati's been the surprise team in college football. Scott Satterfield has done a great job getting this team to where they are. Brandon Sorsey, the quarterback, just going there and taking care of business and picking up wins and put themselves in a nice position. Meanwhile, for Utah, a pretty solid season for them. Did have that loss to BYU, but still hanging in there in the top 25. Utah's always a tough place to get a win, especially a late night game, at least for Cincinnati's perspective. But we'll find out what happens, Bearcats and the Utes. All right, let's take a look at the teams that are still undefeated in college football, and they're playing this week. There's 4 teams that are still unbeaten besides the ones in the SEC that we have previewed. Let's start with number 1, Ohio State, hosting Penn State noon on Fox. This game has lost a lot of sizzle since James Franklin's dismissal. This could have been one of the top games in the Big Ten, but preseason doesn't matter because once you get into the real season, it does matter. But, I think Ohio State will take care of business. Penn State, I don't know if they've won a game since Franklin's left, if I'm not mistaken. I know they had that long losing streak. But it's going to be a tough matchup, but I think Ohio State takes care of business in this one. How about the Navy midshipmen, undefeated at 7-0, heading to Denton to take on North Texas, who's 7-1 themselves. A very underrated game in the American Conference, noon on ESPN2. The midshipmen looking for another Commander-in-Chief trophy. Of course, you have Army and Air Force playing the same day. But, Navy trying to make a run for the college football playoff. Feels like the American Conference is going to get one of those playoff spots. It's either going to be Navy, South Florida, or Memphis. But, Navy trying to make a strong contention. I know Navy would like to get ranked in the top 25, at least being a shot with that. But should be fun. Midshipmen and the Mean Green. Number 2, Indiana, going to Maryland, 3:30 on CBS. The Hoosiers still playing great. Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback, and just dominating teams, and feels like this is going to be another dominating game. Maryland's 4-3 on the year right now, but Indiana's just a machine right now, and probably expect to see the same thing. All right, and then finally, Georgia Tech, number 8 in the country, still undefeated, going to Raleigh to take on NC State, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN2. Hayes King and the Jackets doing a great job. Brent Key, strong contention for Coach of the Year in college football, and a name that's going to be mentioned in a lot of hot seat talks. But doing a good job, controlling the ACC. I feel like a lot of people still talking about Miami and Louisville a little bit, but I think Georgia Tech is the strongest team in the ACC at this moment. And, going to Raleigh to take on NC State, a team they've faced many times over the years. Not going to be an easy game, but I think Tech can kind of handle their own business in this one and possibly pull out a win. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Tailgate Thursday. We hope you enjoy the college football action, everyone, and hope you tune back in here next Thursday for Week 11 of Tailgate Thursday. Until next time, this is David Morrison.